Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for tuning in to the Funny Business Podcast. We have an awesome episode for you today. We were just rolling through these episodes. Mike, I'm just going to get into it. How's it going today? I really have nothing planned for this.
I can tell you don't have anything planned. Usually before the show, Matt's like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to say. And
yeah,
today is one of those days, huh?
Yeah, I got something.
Okay.
This is kind of not really an entertainment topic, but did you see that everyone's freaking out about that meteor?
No, there's a meteor coming to the Earth.
All right, so first of all, this is like the fourth meteor that we've supposedly is coming at Earth this year. Like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? It's the size of a fridge.
I mean, dude, think about it. The size of a fridge coming at you.
No, I don't buy this. I don't buy this at all. First of all, there was a report that there was a meteor that passed us this weekend that NASA didn't know about till afterwards. I don't believe that at all. This is like the fourth meteor we've heard about. Now, the only funny part is it's supposed to hit like the day before the election.
That's
funny.
Yeah.
That would be, could you imagine that? Oh my gosh. Twitter would actually burn down on the ground.
Oh man. Yeah.
That would be insane.
All the Twitter trolls. But Matt, I'm doing well. I'm ready to run another podcast. Episode 19, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Holy crap.
I was thinking about that today. Like, we've been doing this for like 4 months.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane. Like it just feels like we started like yesterday.
I mean, feels like a millennial for me, but that's like, but no, it's one of those things where you come back and, you know, you could completely just have a shitty day and, you know, you literally could be on a podcast and literally talk about just absolutely what you want to talk about, or just talk about things that are completely not related to work or school or anything that's bothering you. So I feel like after your introduction, I was like, you know what? I'm at the Funny Business Podcast. It's time to have some fun. So
I love podcast days. I always wear my MeUndies on podcast days. Make me feel good.
I have a beer with me on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, that works too.
Yeah. So,
whatever you got to do to get yourself in the mood, man.
We don't do this podcast drunk yet.
Yet is the keyword.
Yet is the keyword. We might do that. How about episode 20? Let's call it right now.
I mean, yeah, that'll work for you for next week.
Perfect. Oh my God. So Matt's going on vacation, everybody. So
yes.
That's not even gonna.
Yeah. So I was gonna be drunk regardless.
Oh my God. So I'm gonna. Okay. So we probably have to do it. I mean, unless I just start ripping shots after work.
Yeah. I mean, you do you, boo boo.
I don't know. I might have to drink throughout the podcast.
We'll plan it out. We'll plan it out.
Episode 20, the first drunk podcast of the Funny Business Podcast that's been recorded. That it's a drunk podcast.
Sounds like a genius idea to me.
Genius, my friend. Well, we're going to jump in today's topics for today. Of course, we're going to start off with the entertainment portion of the Funny Business Podcast. Matt, we're going to start off, believe it or not, with a food-related topic for today. This is an old article, but I certainly would like to touch upon it because it's a hilarious story that a police report actually had to write up. It is reported by the HuffPost, and it says that a pizza shop owner thwarts robbery by tossing pie at suspect. So, Matt, this was happening in Greenwood, Delaware, at the Stargate Pizza. So the Stargate Pizza was closing down the shop for the night. And a man, here we go with a machete. Here we go, another machete story.
That was my first thing. They left out a pretty big part of the story in the title without saying that the guy had a machete.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk about people that like that kinky stuff about machetes, yes. But yeah, just wrong house if you remember that way back when. But so the man approached him with a machete, was demanding money. He said the pizza shop owner said he didn't have any, and as he was trying to, I guess, use force, the owner of the pizza shop actually threw a pizza at him, and then it caused the guy to flee and in a car, and the shop owner actually wasn't injured.
Did this guy forget that he had a machete?
Like.
He threw a pizza dough at him. It's not like he threw a car. You could have cut the pizza in half.
I feel like the nerves actually get somebody as far as, you know, when it comes... I mean, I've never robbed anything before, so of course I'm not speaking from experience. But I feel like nerves get to you so much that you have a fight or flight mode. And I think this supposed robber ended up having a flight mode and decided to fly away with the situation.
So I get that, but I feel like if you're gonna rob a store, you should know if you're fight or flight. Like I would probably be flight, so I wouldn't try to rob a store. But like, why would you bring a machete and you're not even going to try to use it? I guess it's just for intimidation factor. Maybe he actually didn't know how to use the machete.
I mean,
He just kind of used it for like to be like intimidating.
I would hope that somebody who's wielding or at least owns a machete knows the uses or just the cause of using a machete. But I don't.
Point.
I mean, today's society is kind of freaking me out as far as their intellectual ability. So I don't want to speak upon the said robber. But you know, I'm very much so. Surprised by this story, and the press release that came out from the police department said that well, the HuffPost reported that the fact that they weren't sure how the pizza was disposed of. Why the heck was that an important piece of the information as far as the police disposing of the pizza? Like, I get it, could be used as evidence, but it's not part of a police report that should be included.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they used. Well, I hope they didn't use the dough to actually make a pizza.
Yeah, that'd be.
I guess they couldn't because it's technically evidence. So then that would be discriminating or not discriminating. I can't think of the word.
Like tampering the evidence.
Tampering the evidence. Yeah, but like, what were they supposed to do with it?
I don't know, Matt. And what's funny is when it comes to like now here we go. We're jumping into another profession we don't know anything. Investigating or detective work. So you ever see it like any of those like detective shows and they see like some of the evidence, they put it in a paper bag.
Yep.
How are they going about putting the pizza in the said?
You got to get one of those giant like saran wrap bags.
Trash can, trash bag.
Trash
maybe?
bag, maybe a trash bag. That's a little too big.
You
know, they have like those saran wrap bags that they don't really have like a close to. You just kind of tie it up. Maybe they did something like that.
I mean, let's be honest here. For the guy to run away that's been thrown with a pizza, like the dude was tossed at a pizza. The pizza must have been huge for that to happen.
Was it like a cooked pizza or was it just pizza dough? Like, was he flipping it like in the air and then he just like spun it at him?
That's the next superhero. Matt, I haven't necessarily seen it in the news release, let alone the report. However, you know, I think the situation came about that the fact that it was in the front of the store, and 9 times out of 10, when you're at the front of a store of a pizza shop, there is usually cold pizza that is sitting on top of the pizza trays that are on top of that. So possibly could have been, you know, just quick reaction. Instead of pulling the gun from the drawer, you actually pulled the pizza from the shelf and threw it at the guy. So I guess that is one possibility. But the other possibility, which I hope is the case, is he was flipping pizzas and he literally tossed it at him.
Giving it the good old Mamma Mia in the air and just like flings it at him.
Mamma Mia, the robber goes down.
Or he's got one of those... Not the frying pans, like the pans they slide it into.
I almost called it a spatula.
It's kind of like a big spatula.
It's a pizza spatula.
But he took it right out of the oven and just flung it at him.
Whack!
That would actually... Then I could understand why he left, because he could have got burned.
Yeah.
That'd be the way to do it.
Dude, I think we are making the next modern superhero in the making. Like, we always say that, like, pizza delivery drivers are superheroes without capes, but... Really, this guy is becoming the next Marvel character that I think that could be created. Pizza Man, pizza time, as they would say.
Yeah, he could go up against Bagel Boss guy.
Bagel Boss, is that a thing?
Remember? Yeah, remember the little short guy that was on
Barstool?
He was like yelling
he's
at Bagel
freaking
Boss guy.
out.
Yeah, that's like the final boss level for Pizza Man.
Is Bagel Boss guy? Wasn't he like? Everybody was making fun of how tall he, not how tall he was, but how short he was.
5 foot.
Yeah, and they were also making fun of him too. So.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but he had like a bad history. Like he would like go at people and like use it for his own YouTube. Like he was not a good guy.
Yeah. And for
our pizza guy could definitely kick his ass.
For those who are watching the YouTube video, I just noticed something. Bop. I'm gonna switch over to the double the double. What do you call it? The 2 video way, because we're doing it in speaker view. Yes. So you're gonna have a fun visual camera cut just now. But
nice.
Happy Friday, everybody. So
even the pros make mistakes sometimes.
Well, it's not even a mistake. It's just a little touch.
Yes.
But yeah, Matt, I'm really intrigued to see if this apparent robber, I should say, I don't even call him a robber because he really didn't take anything.
No.
But I'm sure that this pizza, Stargate Pizza, got some pretty good business after the fact that the police report was actually made. So,
Oh, I'd go there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to support the guy that stood up for himself.
and maybe we could say, hey, how did you throw that pizza?
I need a follow-up story. Like, I need to know how he did it.
Matt, if I see one, I will let you know, and we will certainly
Yeah.
take that again as a follow-up in the Funny Business podcast. But moving on to yet another, quote, food, we're moving on to the drink section of the Funny Business podcast. Matt, I swear to God, if you have a food topic for the Take It, it'll just come full circle. I'm seeing no reaction here.
No comment.
Okay.
That
gotcha.
is. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop talking.
I gotcha. So, Matt, we're moving on to one of the crappiest beers that is.
Nope.
So, as some of you are aware, there are a lot of California fires that are happening. In California, and there's been a lot of people that have been evacuating, have been trying to relocate, and have just honestly been trying to survive this wildfire that's been going on. But we had a news segment that came up that was from UPI.com that was saying that man uses Bud Light to keep wildfire flames away from California home. And I was like, my gosh, we got to take a look at that, because both of us like beer. Both of us love saving the earth to a degree.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, fires. So the funniest thing that I want to mention out of this whole entire this article, I should say, the dude's name that saved his home, and kid you not,
I just saw this. I was hoping this is where you were going.
was Chad Little. Chad. Brad and Chad. I wonder if his neighbor's name is Brad.
Unreal. Maybe he named his firstborn Brad.
Could you imagine having that?
Oh my God.
So talking about the key points to the story. So Chad Little said he decided to stay behind when his family evacuated their Vacayville home last week as the complex fires approached their neighborhood. As far as what Chad, they kept addressing him as Little. Let's address him as Chad.
Yeah, he's a Chad. Yeah.
So Chad had hoses set up around the house to provide consistent source of water to keep the flames away from the house, but started worrying when the water to the area was shut off. So what Little did was he said that he pulled a 30-pack of Bud Light, started pulling away some of the sheet metal from the wall of his workshop, and used the exposed nail to pop holes in the cans. So basically what he was doing is basically setting up more of a barrier to prevent the house from catching on fire. I want to say that's not the most Brad Chad move, but it's certainly one of the most innovative moves as far as saving a fire.
I mean, Brad and Chad's, they know what to do with their beer, and in this case they helped save his home from a fire. And I think also, didn't it say that part of their house burned down like 5 years ago from a fire that happened in their kitchen?
I believe it did. However, there was no Bud Lights saving this kitchen at this instance.
No.
So
yes, but yeah, we're making fun of him because his name's Chad, but he did do a good thing.
He did,
because his family. He was the only one that stayed, so his family did evacuate. So he was very brave. It's just kind of funny that a guy named Chad had Bud Light to help him save his house.
You can't write a better story than that, Matt.
No, you really can't.
I hope that Brad. I almost call him Brad. Chad. You always forget about Chad. I hope that Chad gets the notoriety that he deserves, and who knows, maybe he'll be the next NASA person to be sending somebody up on the moon via Bud Light cans, all made together, recyclable Bud Light cans into a spaceship.
This is also the most un-Chad thing a Chad has ever done in the history of Chads.
Right, because Chads usually just watch the fire and just...
Yeah, he would just be like cracking open the Bud Light and like sitting on the back, well, not the back porch, but sitting away. And
I mean, he'd still be sitting on the back porch.
Just, yeah, I mean, he'd be running in, saving his beer bong and the pong table. And props to this dude. I don't think... Maybe his name's not actually Chad.
We are so sorry for anybody who's named Brad or Chad that listens to our podcast.
And honestly, like, on a serious note, like, stay safe if you're in California.
Yeah.
And We hope no one's house actually does burn down. But this guy's name can't be Chad. Can't be. There's no way.
No, man. It's impossible to. I don't know. It depends on if it's fake news or not. I mean, I try to make sure I fact check these.
Now, it would be a Chad thing to make up this story.
Matt, we're not going to go into that.
I'm not making up the story, but making up that the Bud Light saved his house.
Okay.
I mean, maybe he did something to save it, but throwing in the Bud Light part, that would make it a Chad.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right about that. I think that's a total Chad move. But
yeah,
I'm so surprised by this story. I really can't say anything more about it besides that. Good for you, Chad. That's all I have to say.
Yes, seriously, no, good job.
Yeah.
I'm sure your family's very proud of you. We're happy you're home safe. And just another thing that people should buy beer because you never know when you're going to need it.
Only you can prevent forest fires. Buy yourself a can of Miller Lite today.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we're going to move on to our final topic for today. Now, Matt, we had some exciting news that happened this past weekend. Matt, do you? I mean, it's your story technically, but would you care to share what happened this past weekend?
Yeah. So I had one of my family members was unable to take care of his dog anymore, so we were looking this past week, and especially this past weekend, to get him a home. You know, because we weren't able to keep him ourselves. So I put it out there on Facebook where we wanted to keep it. You know, give the dog to someone that we had a relationship with, or at least someone we knew. So I figured putting it on Facebook, someone would
because you're friends with everybody you truly know on Facebook.
Well, at least someone that we kind of knew.
Yeah.
And it turns out we found someone that we kind of knew. It would be Mike's girlfriend Jenna.
Yep. Jenna's family specifically.
Jenna's family, yes.
Little Chase. Chase is a poodle. Absolutely adorable. What was funny was once I heard that they were actually visiting the dog, I was like, well, actually, Jenna suggested it to me. I'll give credit because she gave me a lot of flack on last week's episode, let me tell you. So trying to make sure the story's right this time. But she actually suggested it to me that I would come down and see the dog myself. And I was like, well, I get to see the dog. I get to see Matt. Yep. I haven't seen your family in quite some time either. So your mom and dad and your brother Steven. So, just as far as that, like it was just a nice opportunity. And let's just say we were together once again after our in-person podcast. But no, I was super happy to see that Jenna's family wanted to take Chase. And dear God, that dog is a cute. I mean, all puppies' dogs are just adorable. But Chase specifically has a smile on his face all the time. Huge lap dog, doesn't once you got him settled on, will not budge if he's comfortable with you. And is quite the walker as far as what we experienced this past weekend. I mean, especially your family has seen every time we've taken him out, always wanted to somehow just adventure a little bit more out into the wilderness or the backyard of your house.
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually not a small dog person, but he is probably the cutest small dog that I've ever interacted with in my life.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have to ask because people have been asking me, I don't know why I'm getting vetted all these questions. Is Chase going to grow into a decent-sized poodle, or is he going to stay at that size?
No, he is, we believe, a mini poodle.
Stop.
Yes. So his papers say a toy poodle,
okay,
but he's a little bigger than a toy poodle,
gotcha.
So he is a mini poodle.
So he's going to
so he's going to be pretty small his whole life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's
going to be awesome.
Oh. So I thought today on the podcast we would actually talk about some of our dog moments or memories that has certainly been a part of our lives itself, and kind of the whole Chase story kind of influenced this topic if you couldn't tell already. But Matt, I kind of want to hear because you also have another dog too, as quite the personality, Miss Daisy.
Daisy May is quite the lady.
But talk to me, Matt, about some of your best dog moments that I think you've experienced in your whole lifehood.
So I'll give one with Daisy. I'll give one first with my middle dog. I've had 3 dogs in my life.
Okay.
We had Bandit, was an English Springer Spaniel. We didn't have him for too long. Then we had Boomer, who was a male yellow lab.
Okay, Boomer.
Funniest story we had with him was we had a picnic at our house once, and my uncle literally got a burger, put all the toppings on it, set it down on the table, turned around to grab a beer, turned back around, burger was gone. Boomer's chomping on it. He like jumped up on the table, just completely took the whole burger in one bite, and just was going to town on the floor.
Oh, goodness.
But the better story I have is with my Daisy May. So Daisy is going to turn 10 in October.
Really?
May have made that up. Yeah.
Maybe.
So when she was like, I want to say 2, she was in the backyard with my mom, and they were just playing and stuff. And my mom heard the UPS guy pull up because she was expecting the package. Well, Daisy heard him as well. So Daisy starts taking off after the UPS truck, who's parked outside. So the UPS guy gets out, goes to greet her. Well, Daisy's just doing laps around the UPS truck, ends up jumping in the back of the truck, like in the back of the UPS truck, is bouncing around this truck. Packages are flying all over the place. You can hear him breaking and stuff inside the box. And she was in there for like a solid minute until my mom coaxed her out of there with a piece of cheese. She only got out because she got a piece of cheese.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, the UPS guy was totally fine with it. And now every time he comes and every time the mail lady comes, they always leave her a little treat.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yep.
That's...
There was even another time, this like a couple months ago, the UPS lady came, or no, the mail lady came, and Daisy was outside, walked up to the mailbox, literally sat down and just opened her mouth like, please give me the treat now. And she just plopped it right in her mouth. Like she knows it comes every time.
I've only met Daisy twice in my life, I think.
Daisy's also like 95 pounds. Is a horse of a dog. Horse.
And it's not Matt. I mean, I'm sure you saw this past weekend. It's not that Daisy. So Daisy actually has. I don't want to call it. It's not. Daisy has a handicap, I guess is the best way to put it. Like with her legs.
She's got two blown ACLs in her back legs.
Two blown ACLs, and it's not the fact that I'm making fun of her and how she walks. It's just.
She waddles.
Daisy May waddles, has a bright personality.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny because this past weekend when we were looking at Chase, Daisy just wanted all the attention because she knew that there was going to be some type of interaction to the height in which Daisy could be reached. And that it was just Daisy was like, I want it.
She's like the smartest dog we've had. She also gets like super bad anxiety around people and other dogs. So she'll just like start crying like all the time. She cries all the time.
Yeah.
But she's the best.
That's crazy. But
no, I was gonna say, what's your dog memory that you got?
So what's funny, Matt, is you said that you had 3 dogs. I actually had 3 dogs myself, believe it or not, in my lifetime. Yeah. So we were fortunate enough to have 2 German shepherds. So we started off with I believe to this day is one of the best dog breeds ever. Is a German shepherd. We had one that started out with Haus. Younger years.
An awesome name.
Yeah, it's such a cool name, Haus. And then we had a second one named Molly. And then, of course, the little pupper, the little half border collie, half English shepherd, little Chuckle, or Charlie, as we call it. Charlie's his real name, but he calls Chuck, Charles, Chucky, Chuck, all these things. But I guess the one thing about Haus was really the glue that kept my family together. And not in the sense that, separated fights or whatnot, but, Haus was a true definition of being a family member. And it's more the two stories that I'm going to share are pretty serious. So they're not hilarious like Daisy jumping in the back of UPS, but truly is a true testament that dogs are so amazing and they are a part of the family no matter what happens. So Haas was outside and my dad was working, and from the story, I was very young at the time. From the story that I was told, there was a truck that pulled up at a 3-way stop at our old house. And a pit bull actually got off the back of the trunk, started chasing for my father. Haas actually jumped in front of my father and took the bite that the pit bull was actually going to go for my father.
Whoa.
And my dad was smacking the pit bull with a shovel, Haas, you saw visibly, Haas had the teeth sunk right into his neck, and
that's crazy.
Haas was the superhero of my, and dad absolutely loved Haas. I get emotional just thinking about it. Haas protected the family, especially because my mom was a stay-at-home mom for all three of us until, she was able to start working the postal clerk and also mowing lawns with dad as well. But, Hoss was just such a great dog. And, Molly too. Molly was a little territorial in the sense, but again, Molly did not care for anyone else besides our family. So it was a true testament to that. But little Charlie, on the other hand, dear God. So it was a surprise to me that we were getting a new puppy, and it was back my junior year in college. Yes. Time flies. I can't believe it. But junior year in college, yes, we're getting a dog. Oh my gosh. The pictures my mom sent completely just sold by it. So what was fortunate enough for me was that my mom and dad had work, and both my brothers went to school. So the only person that got to stay through that developmental stage was me. So Charlie, I used to take Charlie out all the time, used to feed him, did whatever. My mom's probably going to be like, no, you didn't, but I did. And with Charlie, there was the one night I was taking him out at night. This was still in the stages where you had to like get up early in the morning, get up for lunch. Like you had to go every time he drank water, for crying out loud.
Right.
And it was late at night, and we heard birds for some reason. The birds just started flying in our direction. I'm like, what is that? This big black figure decides to start crossing our front property. And I believe it was a bear.
Oh, no.
It was a bear. Charlie's instinct decided to go back to the house and pull me away. So I ran with him. I was like, I can't. And like,
as anyone would do when the bear's coming.
And I was freaking, like, I was like completely just disheveled. I was like, and Charlie was right there, right next to, like, kind of like, how like, as he's not a little dog, but like a decent sized dog. Charlie just got up nice and soft, like he like always does when he greets me, but just nice and soft, came up and just was like, you okay, dude? I was like, this is the dog. This is the dog that is, again, a testament to what Hoss and Molly did. And Charlie is the will greet you at a moment's notice, but it's just one of those testaments that like dogs are literally a man's best friend. And Charlie has sold me, because originally I didn't like dogs at one point. Like I actually had a really bad experience with a dog that bit the side of my side. Yeah, great anatomical work, Mike. Bit the side of me, and just I could not interact with any dog in particular. Small, large, friendly, not nice, all these things. But Charlie was just one of those dogs that changed me forever. And I probably wouldn't have the experience that I had with Chase if it wasn't for Charlie. I'll be completely honest. Like, Charlie, if you're listening,
good boy.
Good boy. Who's a good boy?
10 out of 10 would give pets.
Yes.
No, I mean, dogs are just the most loyal animal, mammal. They're more loyal than people.
Yeah, right.
Like, we don't deserve dogs.
We really don't. We
don't
really
deserve dogs, and dogs deserve longer lives.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's much better stories than what Matt and I have shared. So if you do have a story, please feel free to leave us an @ or a mention or a comment in our Funny Business social media. When we come back, Matt's got another slew of sports topics for today. Don't go anywhere. Matt, I got to tell you, I am so happy we're continuing to make more episodes for our podcast.
You're so right, Mike. I really am enjoying hearing how awesome each episode is every week from everyone. It's so easy to do.
It is so easy. And we have Anchor, our sponsor for this episode, to thank for. Anchor is free to anyone that wants to start a podcast. It's easy for beginners with the creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. It also helps distribute our podcasts so our listeners can tune in to their platform of choice, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more.
And Mike, I got to tell you, I was skeptical before, but we actually are making a profit off this podcast. We are still a small podcast, but it's nice to see the progress we have made with each episode with that money.
Yes, we are making it rain. Kind of. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's anchor.fm.
And who knows, you may start a podcast with your best friend.
That's right. Roommates for life. Now back to the podcast.
Okay, let's slide into the sports segments for today. We're going to start off with some NBA basketball talk because that's really the biggest thing that's going on right now. The first thing we're going to talk about is the Clippers Mavericks. So as of recording of this podcast, this episode, it is a 2-2 series thanks to Luka Doncic. So we've talked about Luka before on the show. Here's what I really want to get into. So he hit a buzzer beater against the Clippers. I think he had 41 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists. Insane numbers. He's had 2 triple-doubles in 4 career playoff games.
It's crazy.
This is going to be his league for the next 15 years.
Because he's young, right?
He's 21 years old.
Younger than us.
You know what we were doing when we were 21? I was popping Motrin every Friday morning because I had a headache from the night before.
I was like, something with drinking, Matt?
And this dude's just dropping triple-doubles in the playoffs. You know what the other thing people don't think about? Like, he's from Europe. Now, he's played professional basketball since he was like 16.
Yeah.
But he got drafted in 2018. This is like his 3rd year of playing. Now, I don't know if he lives in the U.S. full-time, but this is only his 3rd year playing professional basketball in the United States. That's a big transition. Like, you got to learn, like, kind
English.
of a whole new language.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he spoke a lot of English before, but all of his teammates pretty much speak English. They got to, learn the slang that reporters use in here in America and just getting used to the culture. Like, this guy's gone through a lot, and he's going to run this league for the next 15 years.
I think for basketball is the universal language no matter where you are. That goes with any sport. Any sport is the universal language. And Luka Doncic, oh my God, what a guy. I mean, I remember when, I forget how many episodes ago, we brought my brother Trent on the show. And in my top 10, I put Luka at number 9. But I didn't mean that saying, in the sense, but he has so many years left. And I really hope, I pray to God that Luka will stay healthy for his years to come, and he'll be able to actually dominate the league. And I hope he gets traded because I don't like Mark Cuban to a degree.
Hold on, Mark Cuban's an awesome dude.
He is an awesome dude.
He's awesome.
I guess what's burned in me, of course, me being the bandwagon guy, is how obnoxious he was when, and I get it, it's an NBA Finals trophy, but just how obnoxious he was in the NBA Finals when it was Dirk and, was that it?
Yeah, that was their first championship ever.
I know, but like, you don't
against LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh.
Yeah. Like I said, bandwagon. I was upset, but to a degree, listen. He's great on Shark Tank because I feel like he always steps out of every freaking deal that goes by, and that it just I was almost to the point when it was like that. I was like, stay on Shark Tank, kid. Like. Meanwhile, here's me being, what was that, high school that happened? Yeah, like freshman in high school. I was like, stay on Shark Tank, loser. But I have grown respect, but I do want to see Luka go somewhere that is better.
No, I'd rather see him in Dallas, honestly, because I don't. What do you want to go see him play for the Lakers so that they win 15 more titles, or
Maybe.
for the Celtics so they can win 15 more titles?
I want
to see some new teams get in there.
LeBron's got 20 more years on him, so like, they must have been working on him in the lab. I mean, I'm sure he can tell Luka what to do, and he'll be fine for the next 60 years for all we know.
Probably. And the other thing, every time I see, every time Luka has a good game, I hate going on Twitter because Suns fans talk about how we drafted DeAndre Ayton, number 1 overall in 2018, and we could have had Luka Doncic and Devin Booker for the next 15 years. So that's always just great to see on Twitter. Even though, like, DeAndre is going to be good for us, like, we could have had Luka. Like, that sucks.
Sucks to suck.
Also, people forget he was traded on draft night. He got drafted by the Hawks, traded to the Mavericks.
Yeah, I bet.
Could you imagine Luka Doncic and Trae Young? That'd be crazy.
I can only imagine.
They would have made the playoffs this year.
Can only imagine how the Hawks feel right now.
Oh my God! How every
year
the Kings took like Marvin Bagley, who I love Marvin Bagley because he went to Duke, but he's not a good NBA player. We're gonna have another rendition of, we did this a few weeks ago with Lou Williams. We're gonna play. I have a new name for it, so a new name alert. It's called Who Tweeted. Okay. So it is a Luka Doncic tweet.
Oh gosh.
Let me pull up on my phone.
About Luka.
About Luka, yes. Okay. So Mike, guess who tweeted?
Okay.
The quote.
Yep.
What were the odds? Luka had shot 3 air balls from 3 yesterday. Regular season, he ranked 140th out of 147 NBA three-point shooters, just 31.6%. He was 0 of 10 in last-minute close-game shots. He missed the most free throws in the playoffs, all caps, yet he made the game-winning three. Guess he was due. Law of average. Who tweeted?
Okay, can I boggle it down between a reporter and a player?
Yes. You can boggle it down.
So was
you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I thought you were going to have two options. It is not a player.
So it's a reporter.
Sure.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's a sports figure.
Was it Shaq?
No, it was Skip Bayless.
Oh, that was my second guess.
Yeah. So Skip's moving up. Well, he's not moving off LeBron takes because he's just going off on LeBron, which let's go into LeBron and the Blazers because the Blazers are dead.
Yep.
They have no shot in this series.
Nope.
LeBron has gone off, and there's breaking news. Damian Lillard will not play in Game 5.
I'm not surprised by that.
A sprained right knee.
Oh, well, I thought it was just more
Yes.
so just not interested.
No, right knee sprain. So now they lost by they were down by almost 45 points the other game. They have absolutely no shot to compete. This game's going to be over in the first quarter, and the Lakers are going to go on to play either the Rockets or the Thunder.
Ooh, that's a good matchup.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's 2-2 right now.
Rockets and Thunder?
Rockets Thunder is the 4-5. Yeah. We can touch on that too. Thunder have found a defensive star. His name, have you seen his name?
No.
His name is Lou Dort.
Dort?
D-O-R-T.
Dort.
Lou Dort.
Dort
He is
on
a
D.
beast.
Wow. Dort on
I see
D.
what you did there. I see what you did there. He's a beast. He can't play a lick of offense. He'll make a corner three once in a while. But this is what you have to do against James Harden. You got to find one guy that's going to get under his skin. And Lou Dort is apparently that guy.
Defense wins championships. That I am 100% believing in that.
Yes, it does. These Sixers are officially dead. So they got swept by the Celtics. Sixers fans are pissed, but happy at the same time because they fired their coach, Brett Brown. This was pretty, everybody saw this one coming because the relationship between Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons has not been good, and the team just played terrible in the playoffs and in the bubble. And Sixers fans, I know a few Sixers fans was talking to them during the playoffs. They actually wanted to get swept. They wanted to lose so they would fire their coach.
That's a true Philly fan right there.
That absolutely, you couldn't draw it up any better. So my question to you is, I think it's time for a rebuild in Philly. I know Philly fans don't want to say that. They have to.
Okay, but they said
hold on,
that.
Hold on. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are not going to work together.
No.
You have to trade one. Yeah, you have to trade one of them.
So
Have to.
What bothers me about that phrase is that the fact that they've talked, I guess it's Philly affiliated. Say that 6 times fast. Philly affiliated news stations have been saying, we've rebuilt for so long, and we've acquired some of probably the best players in the NBA. What are we going to do to get us to the championship? Now we're saying, okay, now it's time to rebuild. Where the frick did that come from?
It's funny because it's one of those things where Philly sports talk radio is just unlike any sports talk radio in the country. But they've always, for the last few months, they've been talking if the season doesn't go well, we got to trade Embiid, and people will be like, we got to trade Simmons. And usually sports talk radio is just talk. I think it's actually going to happen. I think they're going to trade one of them this season.
I wouldn't be surprised, and
I think I would, and I think I would trade Simmons because I think you can get more in return for him. And there's also not many Joel Embiids growing on trees.
somebody that can actually hit a 3-pointer that's actually a guard.
And Simmons is great, but you can't have him as a point guard if he can't shoot threes. But you're also going to get more in return for him because Embiid hasn't played great in the playoffs, and he can kind of be a little more injured than Ben Simmons, even though Simmons can also be injured. But they're a hot mess because they also have Al Horford, who just absolutely sucked in the playoffs, and he's got a big contract. Tobias Harris did not do well in the playoffs. He's got a big contract. Did you see the fall that he had in Game 4?
I heard about it.
Oh, my gosh.
Once I heard about it, I did not want to see it.
I don't know. So he actually walked off the floor. So what happened was he went up for a block and his foot got caught and he fell on his head. Not to be too graphic here, but he literally bounced. Like his head like bounced off the floor. Like there was blood on the court. And like they were giving the trauma signal. Like I thought he was going to get stretched off. He walked off the floor, came back in the game like 20 minutes later.
Must have had the worst headache in the world.
Oh my God. I don't know how he didn't have a concussion.
Yeah, right.
Why
That's
they let him back
thing.
in. If your head's bleeding, I feel like you shouldn't come back in the game. That's just me. I don't know. I'm not a professional. But they got to make big changes. I'm also curious to see who they make as the new coach. I've heard they're interested in Ty Lue, which Philly fans for some reason are not interested in that. He's a guy who won an NBA championship. Now, granted, he had LeBron, but just because LeBron was the best player in the world doesn't mean he's not a good coach. I don't understand that.
Who was the New York Knicks coach before they fired him?
David Fizdale.
Could you imagine they hire him and it would be a double hire for both baseball and basketball?
Oh my gosh! I didn't think that. That'd be crazy with Joe Girardi.
Right.
Yeah, had no idea.
Right.
I've heard Mark Jackson.
Okay.
I don't think that would be too good. Mark Jackson's one of those guys that like seems smart, but like you listen to him call a game on ESPN, you're like, dude, what are you talking about? And then the other name I heard was Jay Wright, the Villanova head coach.
Yes. Okay.
I don't think he'd make a great pro coach.
I think
don't know. I also like he's had a lot of NBA interest, but I don't know if he's too interested in going to the NBA.
I think what it comes down to is the fact that there needs to be a coach that can settle for personalities, and I just don't mean personalities between the players, just the Philly personality. I feel like that they need to find somebody that can tame that and can understand that, with the exception of, the mentality of Philly that we'll win at all costs, but there needs to be some sort of distinction between, okay, play to win, don't be jerks, and that's the best way that I could put it. And that's that's Philly.
I agree. Yeah, it takes a special person to play and coach in Philly. I personally think Ty Lue would be the best coach. I mean, there's guys that he's played for say he's the smartest assistant coach in the league.
He's got a coach then. Like, I mean, he didn't coach to his first championship. We all know that.
I hate this narrative that like LeBron wins all the titles. Look at Eric. I'm going to talk about the Heat in a second. Look at Eric Spoelstra.
He's
the top three coach in the league. Let's move on to the Heat because that's my next thing.
Oh, Matt's
I have a bold prediction.
Matt's heated.
So the Heat swept the Pacers. I thought that series was going 7. The Heat are insane. Game 4, they held the Pacers to 87 points, which is crazy in today's league. The Pacers had 5 guys that scored. One of those guys had 3 points. So they basically got all of their points from 4 guys. That's insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Their defense is crazy. Go ahead.
No, I'm taking time to process it. I was like, wow.
And Jimmy Butler only had 6 points. He took 5 shots. The Bucks are up 3-1 against the Magic. They're probably going to win, so it's going to be Bucks Heat. I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I think the Heat are going to beat the Bucks.
I am going to side you on that.
Yeah. Because the Bucks aren't playing super well. I mean, they did lose game 1 to the Magic. And other than Giannis, like the role players haven't played too well. And the Heat are like an actual team. Like we have LeBron and Anthony Davis. We have Kawhi and
Paul
Playoff
George.
P, who can't shoot in the playoffs ever. Like he gave himself the nickname Playoff P, and he just sucks in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But you have these like teams that just have like 2 or 3 players. The Heat are an actual team. Now, granted, Jimmy Butler's good, but like it's nice to see an actual team get together and perform well.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would be very happy to see the Heat make it somewhat far in the playoffs. I mean, I know they only have one more round to go, but ideally, I think having that opportunity again, because they haven't had the opportunity in a while. They had crappy years after LeBron left, and then D Wade actually took the high road and went away too, but then they had to, of course, accompany D Wade in his send-off celebration because he came back home. And there was just so many things that I think the Heat were just very much so occupied with that I would love to see them make a playoff run. Heck, I'd love to see them in the finals because I think it'd be cool. Could you imagine the Lakers versus the Heat in the NBA finals?
Oh,
like Spoelstra, who knows how LeBron plays, versus LeBron, who knows how Spoelstra coaches. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
And not saying that it's coach versus coach, but I'd be excited to see that.
That'd be insane. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the biggest bitch in sports. His name is, we've talked about him before, Bryson DeChambeau. So we talked about him yelling about the fire ants, and then he yelled about something. He yelled about something else. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Well, he's back yelling about stuff. So he missed a putt on round 1 last week, and he turned into the gallery. Now, I don't know who he was yelling at because there's no fans, but there was 2 people off to the side that were talking. And you can hear him on the mic. He goes, "Hey, can you guys keep it down over there? Because I can hear you guys from the green." And then he goes, "Sound travels." Thanks, Sherlock. Didn't know that one. Can you just shut up and play golf? I hate this notion that you have to be so quiet playing golf.
I mean, I could get the focus, but again, when it comes to sports, a majority of it's mental. And if he's not in that mental game, he is the biggest bitch in sports. He is. He complains every week about something.
But here's the other thing. Yes, I understand you're supposed to be quiet in golf. But I would like it. I want the rules to change. When you go for a free throw, does the opponent crowd have to be quiet?
Hey guys, I'm trying to shoot a free throw.
Exactly. You don't have to stay quiet for him. If you're an away team in baseball and you're up with 2 strikes out, does the opponent team have to be quiet so you can concentrate? No. Part of sports is playing in front of fans, and it should be part of golf that you can make some noise. And I'm not saying they can scream or whatever, but they shouldn't have to be super quiet and the slightest noise they hear, they blame that for missing the putt or for hitting a bad shot. Why can't just focus? If you're that focused, you shouldn't be paying attention to the outside noise.
Yeah, I mean, it boils down to a lot of the game is mental and the rest is skill. It's tough to play off the fact that those people actually caused him to miss. I think right now he's just trying to find excuses, and when you start finding excuses, you start lacking your skill, and it just becomes a whole mess for you eventually when it comes time for it.
Like the late great Yogi Berra said, 90% of the game is physical and the other half is mental.
If there's a fork in the road, take it.
Take it. Yeah. Yogi Berra.
Damn it. I should have waited for that at the end of our Take It segment.
Oh, man, I miss Yogi Berra. Mm-hmm. Moving on to baseball. So we had some news last week that we weren't able to talk about, so we're going to touch on this week. An unfortunate moment in broadcasting. So Thom Brennaman was the broadcaster for the Rays, used an anti-gay slur on the air. So he was recording some sort of sponsor segment and didn't think he was live and used an anti-gay slur. Now, that doesn't matter that he didn't think he was live. Shouldn't be saying that anyway. So that was unfortunate. What was kind of funny in this situation was where he went to give an apology in an inning later when he realized what he said. And as he's giving the apology, he starts his apology. As he's giving it, a player hits a home run, which he proceeds to call the home run in the middle of his apology. It was hysterical. He's giving the apology, and he's like, and there's a fly ball to left field, and a home run by Castellanos makes it a 3-0 game. And the next line he says, I don't know if I'm ever going to put this headset on again. Here's what now I'm glad we're having this conversation. As a communications major, and as someone who's called a sporting event.
Yeah, I have.
If you ever had to give an apology live on a broadcast, would you stop to continue calling play-by-play?
Here's the thing that I will. So first of all, I could not understand because I kept seeing just a home run on Twitter surfaced, and I'm like, I don't get it. Why it's a home run? There's nothing else. But really, people were talking about I should have listened. Here's the thing about your production team. Wow. Glad I get to use my degree in this.
Yes, no, that's why I brought it up.
When it comes to the production and when it comes to the show, you should find time for a segment like that. There is time when it comes for something like that. If an announcer wants to make an apology, talks to the production team saying, hey, I'd be interested in making an apology. I'm sure you guys are aware. The production team is like, okay, you have 2 choices. We can either fit you in the opening, so that way it's done and out of the way. Or if you want to open back up after 3 outs and the pitching has changed and the batters have changed, you can do that. You do not do it during gameplay. It's not, for a little banter in between, Absolutely. Banter gets interrupted all the time. But if you're trying to make a serious point, don't do it in the middle of the game. Do it when you can, and you know that you can make the full apology. And I feel like I'm calling him out on it. It's a cop-out. It's a complete cop-out. Did not want to say the apology. He does not feel sorry for it. And I really hope that there's some consequences, at least in this sense. And he looks like a total asshole for this. Now that I'm actually like putting 2 to 2 together, like he looks like a complete asshole because he did that. People aren't going to believe that he apologized because it's not genuine. It's the fact that he already, like, as somebody who has ran games myself, if I was in the middle of apology, I would finish that apology. I don't care what's happening in the game because there's a bigger moment happening in the game. Home runs happen all the time, unless it's a game-winning home run. It wasn't a game-winning home run. It wasn't a stat-popping, record-breaking home run. It was a home run in the game. You don't do that, and that's the fine line. Don't do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, he sucks. He didn't finish the broadcast. Like, they pulled him after his apology.
Good. That's all I have to say.
He also calls football for Fox. He's not doing that anymore. They pulled him from that. It was just like, it's an unfortunate moment, and the guy, you're right, he is an asshole.
Right.
It was an unintentionally funny video. Like, the video itself is unintentionally funny because he's giving the apology.
It's awkward.
Just stops the call home run and then goes like, "Yeah, I probably won't ever put this on again." Like,
yep.
What are you doing?
You basically called out your own funeral after that. That's basically what happened.
Pretty much. Like, people were saying like he was still trying to like audition for like a future job. There's no way this guy's getting a job again. He's done.
Never.
Absolutely done for. The other big baseball news last week was the San Diego Padres. They've had a hell of a week, or the Slam Diego Padres, as some people call them. So they made news early last week, when they were playing the Rangers. They were up 6-0, or 6 runs. They had bases loaded. Fernando Tatis was up at the plate, who, by the way, is probably like the next young stud in baseball. Like, throw that out there. He had a 3-0 count. He hit a grand slam on the next pitch. After the game, the Rangers manager was very upset, called him out for swinging at a 3-0 pitch when he's up 6 runs. I don't see the problem here.
You don't get called Slam Diego for nothing.
Well, here's the thing. Why are you mad at him for swinging at a 3-0 pitch? Why don't you get, 1, mad at your team for being down 6 runs, 2, mad at your pitcher for throwing 3 straight balls to start the at-bat? 6 runs is not that much. Literally the next day after that happened, the Blue Jays were down 7 runs in the first inning. They came back to win the game. Just because it's a 3-0, like, 6 runs is not that much. He's still, he's got to swing. Like, he's a young player trying to make a name for himself. He can't just not swing the bat. Like, he's trying to show what he can do.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. You're completely right.
And then they went on the next 4 games. They hit 4 grand slams in 4 straight games. They've hit like 5 grand slams in the last 6 games. And their announcer had an all-time call after the 4th grand slam, was just like, "Welcome to Slam Diego." Slam Diego. That is, I mean, that sounds like Ron Burgundy.
I was just going to say that.
No, that is like the best nickname in all of sports. Like, they're making T-shirts. They got to be making like thousands off Slam Diego. Absolutely insane.
Crazy.
The only other news I want to throw out there, I didn't put this in the show notes, but I'm getting some messages on Twitter and Instagram. So I announced I'm a Flyers fan.
Wow, you're popular.
Well, from like people I know. I announced I'm a Flyers fan, and then the game 1 in round 2, they lost 4-0. People are saying I'm the bad luck charm. You people need to chill. Like, I've been alive since I've been born. Yankees have won like 5 championships. The Steelers have won twice. Duke's won like 3 or 4 times. Like, people need to chill. Like, Rome was not built in a day. Like, let's throw the Suns out of the picture for this. I will bring good luck to the Flyers. Like, you people, stop bringing me your hate, because I'm giving it right back at you. Flyers are going to be fine. It's 1 game. They still have 6 games to win 4. They're going to be fine.
You sound like a Phillies fan.
What's that supposed to mean? I'm a Flyers fan.
A Philly fan. You sound like a Philly fan.
No, I'm not a Philly fan. I'm a Flyers fan. I'm still very upset last week when you said that me being a Flyers fan was just like me being an Eagles fan. Like, that's very offensive to me. Nothing's worse than being an Eagles fan.
Oh. We both can
maybe
agree on
being
that.
an Eagles fan and a Phillies fan and a Sixers fan.
Those guys just...
No, they suck.
Yeah.
Flyers are going to win the series, though. I'm confident. That being said, I believe that's all I have for sports for this week. It is time for Take It. So I know you alluded to what Take It may have been.
It's food.
It is food, but it is right up your alley.
Oh, dear.
Oh, you're going to like this. See, we haven't yelled at each other in a little while.
Matt's just like, let's just yell at each other.
The last few Take It's have been pretty calm.
Yeah.
For this one, smooth or chunky salsa?
Smooth or chunky salsa?
Yep. I know you're a big salsa. You are the biggest salsa guy. I can see you. I can see you churning in your chair. I know you're the biggest salsa guy that I know. So I couldn't not ask this.
You're right. You're totally right. Ah, man. I'm going to have to go with chunky salsa. Because when you deal with... Did you call it smooth?
What do you call it?
So it's technically called... here comes the salsa snot out of me.
I was just thinking of like smooth and chunky peanut butter.
So they call it restaurant style salsa.
Okay.
So the thing with your chips when it comes to restaurant style salsa, it's like scooping soup. And I'll say that again.
Oh.
Scooping soup with your salsa chip. With chunky salsa, you get to have some of the greatest delectables that there is, and you're having more salsa to it, because traditionally real salsa is chunky. Like, it's not this soup that is restaurant style. I wouldn't mind having restaurant style, but I'd rather prefer chunky salsa.
It's not soup. It's better salsa.
No. This is
No, here's the thing.
All right, go ahead.
It's, first of all, good restaurant salsa. I'll call it restaurant salsa. I just called it that because I was thinking like smooth or chunky peanut butter.
Yeah.
That's just where I get it from. But good restaurant salsa isn't like soup. There's still a little bit of chunk in it. When you get like full chunky salsa, like there's like no juice. Like it's just like you're eating onion, you're eating tomato, and it's not.
You just never had good chunky salsa.
No, I've never had good chunky salsa ever because chunky salsa is not good.
Okay, so when you get scoops, like Tostitos scoops, why have restaurant style salsa where you could just scoop it up? What if there's a hole? What if there's a hole in the chip? Completely ruined.
You use the side of the chip.
Right, so you're just dipping where you can actually be scooping. Okay.
First of all, it's not like it's going to be a donut style chip. Like if there's a small hole, you just don't put the hole in the salsa.
Yeah, but at the same time, too, you're going to deal with that liquidity.
Well,
that's a big word.
It's impressive.
I've learned the way of the salsa, my friend. But you're going to have that liquid style. And with the chunky salsa, wait, let me be right back. Just hang on. Matt, entertain the people for a little bit.
I'm just going to go off about restaurant style salsa.
No, I'm going to mute you during this time, too. We're going to have some natural cuts.
No, you're not. So restaurant style salsa, people, for those who don't know, when he comes back, I'm going to bring up queso because he's not going to think about queso. Like, you're not going to dip your chip into a block cheese. When you use chips, you want something liquidy. You don't want chunky. Like, if I want to eat chunky salsa, I'm just going to use a spoon. I'm not going to use a chip.
Wow. Now,
I had a nice talk with the people.
You hear that?
Yeah, it's Tostitos.
It's heaven. Check out this amazing salsa that I got from Jim Thorpe.
You're going to have to read it to me because I can't read it that far.
I'm blind. It is Arizona Gunslinger Smoking Hot Chipotle Pepper All Natural Salsa. Now, let me tell you, I can't even open it because my hands are so sweaty.
Lift much, bro?
No, I can't. Okay, now I got it open. Okay. Now, taking a look at it, it does look like to me, it does look like it's restaurant style, but it's chunky. And let me prove it to you.
Yeah, I would like to see this. Very intrigued.
It's fantastic, by the way.
I'm sure it is. I mean,
but even you could get Chipotle corn salsa. Like, I mean, I've been getting those too. Look at this. It's a scoop. It's a fantastic scoop.
Oh, I thought you were showing me the salsa.
No, I'm gonna show it to you. Hang on. Listen. I don't do this. I'm doing this for the podcast. I don't scoop straight from the jar. I pour it in a wonderful cup before I do that. So
If anyone wants to watch this, head to our YouTube page.
Yes.
Funny Business Entertainment.
okay.
All
Look,
right.
look how much stuff you get out of a chunky.
You're going to have to put the chip on the camera.
Yeah. Look at
Okay.
that.
Okay.
You can't do that with restaurant style salsa.
Yes, you can. Are you kidding me?
No way.
Okay. So here's my counterpoint to all this whole argument. And I the listeners already know my point because I told them.
Go ahead.
earlier on.
This is actually really spicy too. So
What did you say? Ghost pepper?
regret this decision.
You said ghost pepper?
It's smoking hot Arizona Gunslinger Chipotle pepper.
Yeah, that sounds hot.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my counterpoint. When I eat chips and salsa, it's similar to when I eat chips and queso.
Do you heat
not
up your chips for 25 seconds in the microwave?
No.
You're doing it wrong.
But so there's a difference between cheese and crackers and like cheese and like tortilla chips. Like I'm not gonna like if I have a tortilla chip, Tostitos.
What? I can't hear you.
Tostitos, for example. I'm not going to use Tostitos to eat block cheese. Not going to happen. When I use Tostitos, I want a little bit of liquid. I want a little bit of juice, so I use it with queso.
So you mean to tell me you can just have Ritz crackers without a block of cheese?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
What do you mean? Ritz crackers are delicious.
Queso belongs with queso. Salsa belongs with chunky.
Okay, but here's my thing. When I use like chips and salsa, I want a little bit of juice to it. If I want to eat chunky salsa,
There's a little bit of juice to chunky salsa, buddy. Did
I'm
you
not
not
done.
see?
Shut up. I'm
No,
not
you
done.
shut up.
No, you shut
I
up.
have an example. You don't.
That's because I don't have chips and salsa with me.
Really?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because I make a point. I showed you. Look, you see the
Did you
juice.
have when I brought up the banana discussion, did you have a banana? No.
You pulled out a banana in your
Exact-
pocket.
aha.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
you were
thought
just
so.
excited to see me, man.
No. It was behind my computer. Anyway, when I'm like if I want to eat chunky salsa, I'm not going to use chips with that. I'll just eat it with a damn spoon. Like when I use Tostitos chips, like I don't want to like it's too much crunch. I want a little bit of juice with it.
Okay, there's juice with chunky salsa too. You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Okay.
It's not the same.
And so you're gonna just go.
Are you saying you would rather eat Tostitos chips with like chunky queso?
I've never had. That's queso. That's a completely different topic.
But you eat it with tortilla chips. Tortilla chips, you need juice. Like I don't want like tortilla chips give you the crunch. You need a little bit of juice to go with it. That's why restaurant style salsa is better than chunky salsa because it adds a little more.
Because
flavor to
queso is made by melting different types of cheeses in.
Okay, let's forget it. Okay, forget about the queso.
Oh, so now we're forgetting about it now.
I'm just forgetting about
Really?
I'm trying to enlighten you. You're not listening. See, I'm listening to you, but
No, you're
wrong.
not. You're saying, no, this doesn't have any juice to it. Well, guess what? I pulled out a chip.
No,
There was some
okay.
juice in it.
Here's the point I'm trying to make. The Tostito chips gives you the crunch. I
Great.
don't want more crunch with chunky salsa.
But there's flavor to the stuff that's chunky salsa.
I understand. You can have flavored restaurant style salsa.
Yeah, but you don't get the satisfaction there is of having like Chipotle corn salsa or even this stuff like Chipotle pepper. Like there are some.
Then, to quote you, you just haven't had good restaurant style salsa.
I have, and I'd rather prefer.
No,
chunky
there's too much
salsa.
crunch. Then there's too much crunch. You need a 50. You need a balance. It's like sweet and salty snacks. You
Well,
need a 50-50 balance.
You're being pretty salty to me.
No, I'm just right.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. It's too much crunch with salty.
Oh my
Too
god.
much crunch.
I'm calling this off. I'm calling this podcast off. No.
That's because you don't have any more arguments because you know you're
No,
wrong.
I've made my points and I made my arguments. The best of both worlds. Something your restaurant style can't do is add chunk to it. Mine can add restaurant style to chunky salsa. So, we'll let the audience decide whether or not chunky or restaurant style, or as Matt put it, smooth or chunky salsa.
Smooth.
Smooth. No, chunky. However, if you do decide, let us know your favorite restaurant as well, because you know me, I always want to go to a nice place that has some great chips and salsa. You know, of course, it's probably the restaurant style. I will certainly still eat it. but I would rather prefer the chunky. Make sure you follow us on our social media at Funny Business Entertainment, Facebook, Funny Business Entertainment, Instagram, and Funny Business EN on Twitter. We post these podcasts every Friday at 11 a.m. in a premiere. If you want to watch us, if you want to see this chip example that I brought, this is great salsa, by the way. And I'm
out of words.
I'm hurt.
Just out of words.
I'm hurt, man. I can't believe you put my favorite snack up against me in today's show.
It was bound to happen at some point.
Sure.
Yeah, you had to know this was coming.
No, I don't know whenever this is coming.
I know, but with the amount of food stuff I've done, you didn't think I was going to do salsa?
The past couple episodes, you're like, I'm happy to tell you it's not a food topic. So
that's because I did so many in a row. I had to switch off.
Now we're going back to the food, I guess. So,
yes.
Well, Well, until next time, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.
Stay safe, everyone.